The attempt to reimagine classic films, particularly beloved stories like Snow White, has ignited a firestorm of controversy and debate among fans and critics alike. The latest adaptation of Snow White has sparked intense reactions, not only because of the decision to modernize the plot, but also due to casting choices and the comments made by the actors involved. Fans feel that by introducing changes that stray so far from the original narrative, Disney has tampered with a classic that holds a cherished place in the hearts of many. It's as if they've not only changed the movie's essence, but also chosen an actress who doesn't seem to connect with the character or the original story itself. These choices have left many longtime fans feeling as though Disney is trying to rewrite their childhood memories rather than honor them. The saga of this new Snow White film resembles a slow-motion catastrophe, akin to the troubles that plagued Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, where high hopes met with disappointing results and negative press. Since development began in 2022, there have been numerous instances where the project's challenges were laid bare: missteps, controversial remarks from the cast, and a perception that some of the key players lacked the charisma needed to promote the film positively. Despite the lengthy production process, the reception of the Snow White remake's trailer on platforms like YouTube has been overwhelmingly negative, with comments reflecting a deep-seated disappointment among viewers. One of the most contentious issues has been the decision to replace the iconic Seven Dwarfs with a multicultural ensemble of characters and magical creatures. While Disney intended this change to promote inclusivity, it appears to have had the opposite effect, as many believe that these alterations dilute the spirit of the original fairy tale. Rachel Zegler, cast as Snow White, initially seemed critical of the original film, suggesting that it needed significant updates to fit modern sensibilities. Her comments gave the impression that she was not fond of the original character or its storyline, which only fueled skepticism about her connection to the role. However, more recently, Zegler's tone has shifted, as she now speaks about her love for Disney and her enthusiasm for the character, leaving some wondering about the authenticity of her newfound devotion. The backlash against Disney's reinterpretation of the Seven Dwarfs intensified when actor Peter Dinklage openly criticized the studio's approach. Dinklage, best known for his role in Game of Thrones, called out Disney for what he saw as a hypocritical attempt to appear progressive by focusing on diversity in casting while still relying on outdated and potentially offensive stereotypes about dwarfs. He pointed to the original portrayal of the Seven Dwarfs as living in a cave-like environment, which he argued perpetuates negative cliches about people with dwarfism. His comments ignited a broader discussion about whether or not Disney's efforts. Rachel Zegler's comments during the promotional run of the film have added fuel to the fire. Initially, Zegler was vocal about her desire to see the original Snow White movie updated to better fit modern sensibilities. Her remarks suggested that she was not particularly fond of the classic version, which raised eyebrows among fans who felt that her attitude disrespected the legacy of Disney's first-ever feature film. To be more inclusive were genuine, or merely a form of performative activism. In response to the criticism, Disney released statements suggesting that they were committed to reimagining the dwarfs in a way that would avoid reinforcing harmful stereotypes. However, they did not provide specifics on how these characters would be redefined, which left many skeptical about their true intentions. The studio's vague assurances did little to quell the growing dissatisfaction among advocates for the dwarfism community, who questioned whether Disney's approach to inclusivity was sincere or simply a strategic move to avoid backlash. This ongoing debate about the portrayal of the Seven Dwarfs and the broader handling of classic tales like Snow White highlights a significant cultural shift in how audiences view these adaptations. For some, the modern retellings are seen as a necessary evolution to ensure these stories resonate with contemporary values in a more diverse audience. However, for others, these changes come across as an unwelcome departure from the essence of what made the original so enchanting. The controversy surrounding Snow White is emblematic of a larger conversation about how Hollywood balances nostalgia with progress, often struggling to please both traditionalists and those advocating for more inclusive representation. The broader cultural context adds another layer of complexity to this discussion, as Disney's recent live-action adaptations have consistently sparked debates about diversity and representation. The casting of Halle Bailey, a Black actress, as Ariel in The Little Mermaid, was met with similar mixed reactions. While many celebrated the casting choice as a win for inclusivity, others accused Disney of pandering to political correctness and engaging in tokenism rather than making substantive changes to storytelling. This ongoing controversy with the Snow White adaptation suggests that the balance between honoring classic narratives and making them more inclusive is still a delicate one for Disney. Despite their efforts to update these beloved tales to reflect modern sensibilities, the changes often lead to divisive opinions about whether these adaptations are true to the spirit of the original stories, or if they are misguided attempts at pandering to contemporary social trends. Fans and critics alike find themselves questioning if the pursuit of inclusivity is genuine or if it's merely a strategy to maintain cultural relevance in an increasingly diverse society. Ultimately, the conversation around Disney's live-action adaptations goes beyond individual casting choices or plot changes. It delves into broader questions about how stories from the past should be adapted for future generations without losing their core messages. As the debate rages on, one thing remains clear: the way in which classic tales are reimagined will continue to be a contentious topic, reflecting society's evolving values and the complex challenges of creating art that resonates with both old fans. As Disney continues to face criticism from all sides, from those who believe they are not progressive enough to those who accuse them of pandering to political correctness, the live-action adaptation of Snow White stands as a symbol of the broader struggle within Hollywood. It reflects the tension between preserving classic stories that have stood the test of time and reimagining them to fit the values and sensibilities of a modern, diverse society, and new audiences alike. The controversy surrounding Disney's live-action adaptation of Snow White has sparked a significant amount of public discussion, drawing attention to various issues related to representation, diversity, and the evolving nature of storytelling in contemporary society. Many fans and critics have expressed concern that this new adaptation might destroy the legacy of the classic tale they grew up with, particularly with the casting choices and changes to the storyline. Critics have pointed out that the lead actress, Rachel Zegler, not only seems to lack enthusiasm for the original Snow White story, but also appears to harbor a dismissive attitude towards the character herself. This perceived disconnect between the actress and the role has fueled the belief that Disney is attempting to alter beloved stories from the past to fit a modern agenda. Many believe that these changes, rather than enhancing the story, have led to a disconnection from the essence of what made these tales timeless in the first place. When the new Snow White trailer was released on YouTube, the reception was overwhelmingly negative, leading many to believe that the film was destined to fail. The decision to replace the traditional seven dwarfs with a diverse group of characters and magical animals has only intensified the backlash. Critics argue that this move, intended to modernize the story, instead dilutes the uniqueness of the original narrative, making it unrecognizable to longtime fans. However, as the controversy grew, Zegler's tone shifted. She began to emphasize her love for Disney and portray herself as a dedicated fan of the company's vision, leaving some to question the sincerity of her newfound enthusiasm. Adding to the debate was actor Peter Dinklage's outspoken criticism of Disney's handling of the Seven Dwarfs in the live-action adaptation. Dinklage, a well-respected figure in Hollywood and an advocate for fair representation of people with dwarfism, accused Disney of hypocrisy. He argued that while the studio claimed to be promoting diversity, they were still clinging to outdated and stereotypical depictions of the dwarfs. Dinklage's comments struck a chord with many who felt that Disney's attempt to balance inclusivity with tradition was falling short. Disney responded to Dinklage's critique by stating that they were indeed making changes to how the dwarfs would be represented in the film, aiming to avoid perpetuating harmful stereotypes. However, their lack of specific details about these changes left many skeptical about the company's commitment to truly inclusive storytelling. Critics and advocates for people with dwarfism continued to question Disney's motives, suggesting that the company's efforts were more about appeasing public opinion than genuinely addressing issues of representation. This controversy over the portrayal of the Seven Dwarfs is just one aspect of a larger cultural debate surrounding Disney's approach to diversity in its live-action adaptations. While some applaud the company's efforts to diversify its casting choices, others see it as a form of performative activism and attempt to appear progressive without making substantial changes to the underlying issues within their stories and corporate culture. The debate intensified when Disney cast Halle Bailey, a black actress, as Ariel in The Little Mermaid, with similar accusations of tokenism and political correctness being raised. Moreover, the controversy took a legal turn when Disney faced multiple lawsuits alleging discrimination against men and political viewpoints. The cases gained widespread attention, partly because of high-profile figures like Gina Carano and Elon Musk. Carano, who was fired from The Mandalorian for her social media posts, claimed that her conservative views were the real reason behind her dismissal. Musk's involvement, given his vocal stance against corporate restrictions on free speech, only added to the media frenzy surrounding these allegations. One lawsuit even claimed to include evidence of gender-based discrimination within Disney's corporate ranks, citing a leaked video of a high-ranking executive making statements that were interpreted as biased against men. Although the specifics of these claims are yet to be fully disclosed, the controversy has already cast a shadow over Disney's attempts to present itself as a champion of diversity and inclusion. As the release of the live-action Snow White draws near, it has become clear that Disney's challenge is not just about creating a film that resonates with contemporary audiences, but also about navigating the complex landscape of modern cultural expectations. The company finds itself at a crossroads, where every decision related to casting, storyline, and representation is scrutinized not just for its entertainment value, but also for its broader social and political implications. In the midst of these controversies, fans have expressed a growing sense of frustration with Disney's direction. The company's efforts to infuse its films with modern ideologies and social messages are increasingly seen as prioritizing agenda over storytelling. This perception was particularly evident with Snow White, where the departure from the classic narrative elements, like the romantic storyline between Snow White and her prince, was met with disappointment. For many, these traditional aspects were integral to the charm of the original tale, and their removal in favor of a more self-sufficient heroine seemed like a betrayal of the story's essence. Zegler's portrayal of Snow White as a leader focused on self-empowerment, rather than a character seeking love, has divided audiences. While some viewers appreciate the modern twist of a strong, independent protagonist, others feel it undermines the fairy tale's core values of romance and adventure. Zegler's dismissive comments about the prince's role in the original story, referring to him as the live-action Snow White remake, has become a flashpoint in the broader debate about Disney's direction as a company. While some viewers appreciate the attempt to update the story and embrace more inclusive values, others feel that Disney is losing touch with the core elements that made its stories resonate with audiences of all ages. Zegler has found herself at the center of this controversy, with her remarks drawing criticism from those who believe she is partly responsible for the movie's perceived shortcomings. As a stalker, have further fueled the backlash, with fans feeling that the character's legacy is being disrespected. Complicating matters further, reports emerged that Disney pulled back from a planned D23 presentation due to political tensions involving actress Gal Gadot, who was set to appear in the film. Gadot's support for Israel reportedly led to a behind-the-scenes fallout, resulting in her reduced involvement in promoting the movie. Speculation about a potential rift between Gadot and Zegler has only added fuel to the fire, with rumors suggesting that the tension between the two actresses may have influenced their interactions during press tours. This discord among the film's key players has cast doubt on the unity of the production team and raised concerns about the movie's overall coherence. The ongoing drama surrounding Snow White has left the film in a precarious position. Frequent changes to the CGI effects and the lack of visible enthusiasm from the cast and crew suggest a troubled production. What was once anticipated as a tribute to Disney's legacy now risks becoming a symbol of its struggles to balance modern sensibilities with its storytelling heritage. For many fans, the issue isn't just the reinterpretation of the narrative, but the perception that Disney is prioritizing ideology over entertainment. Zegler's attitude towards the original film has particularly irked many Disney enthusiasts. Her dismissive remarks about the classic portrayal of the prince, whom she labeled as a stalker, and her emphasis on Snow White's journey of self-empowerment rather than romantic love have sparked significant backlash. Critics argue that her comments reveal a lack of understanding or respect for the foundational elements of the story that endeared it to generations of viewers. This gap between Zegler's portrayal and what fans expect from the character has deepened the divide between the film and its intended audience. Social media reactions to the movie's trailer were swift and overwhelmingly negative. Many fans voiced their disappointment, criticizing the film's tone, special effects, and the deviations from the original narrative. The trailer's reception, marked by a significant number of downvotes, suggests that the new adaptation is failing to connect with the audience it hoped to engage. Instead of generating buzz and anticipation, the promotional efforts for Snow White have seemingly reinforced the belief that Disney's focus has drifted too far from its roots. The controversy surrounding Snow White is emblematic of the broader cultural battles Disney is currently facing. As the studio continues to navigate the delicate balance between staying true to its classic tales and embracing modern values, it risks alienating a portion of its loyal fan base. Whether Snow White will manage to overcome this wave of negative sentiment and win over viewers remains uncertain, but it is clear that the film's success will hinge not only on its artistic merits but also on how well it addresses the criticisms of those who feel let down by Disney's current